Welcome to another episode, everyone. High Desert State Prison, I've said it once, I've said it twice, and I'll say it again, is indeed the most violent prison in the state of California, bar none. Many people have lost their lives there and learned the hard way, such as in this story with an individual named Pimp and Jay, a pimp from up north. He hit the yard and he sort of tried to employ some of his pimpish ways right there on the yard. But the only problem was there were no women there. There were no females. Nothing but big, strong men, gangsters who are not going to go for this sort of behavior. Now, of course, in prison, you have all sorts of characters. And oftentimes these characters take on the persona that they had on the street. They take it on right there in prison, at least at first. You got gangsters, which are different from gangbangers, and they in there acting like gangsters in prison. Gangbangers, they acting like gangbangers. Pimps are acting like pimps. Non-affiliates are acting like non-affiliates, so forth and so on. But this individual here, old Pimp and Jay, well, he did not know how to man up and take responsibility for his own actions. And whenever he found himself in a pickle, what he would do is employ his pimpish ways. So now, old Pimp and Jay, he had a perm. He sort of reminded me of Snoop Dogg. He had a perm, he was tall, he was thin, just like Snoop Dogg. Okay, but now, there in prison, it was hard for him to keep up his perm, but he found a way to have it blew out nearly every day. And he's walking around the yard, and he's walking like a pimp, and he's talking like a pimp. Now, me, myself, I've never liked pimps because I've always heard and I've always felt like they would do anything for money, including pimp out their own backsides, pimp out their own booty. Now, no disrespect to any pimp that may be watching, player. I'm just saying this is how it normally goes. And oftentimes they prey upon women and they prey upon younger women. So, yeah, I've never liked pimps, and I'm not afraid to say that. But to each his own. However you get your money is how you get your money. I don't agree with it. I don't condone it, and I'm against it. That's it. So, but that's how I feel. But this guy, Pimp and Jay, he's of no strife to me. He's not from my car. He's from up north, and he's not bothering me. But I see how he's carrying himself there on the yard. And I'm saying to myself, well, certainly his days are indeed numbered. It's just a matter of time before someone takes this individual down. Well, why? Well, because he's walking around the yard and he's having dealings with narcotics. And he starts to deal with individuals from LA. Now, everything is fine because some of these dudes, they like old Pimp and Jay. He's popping it, he talks real fast, and they getting a kick out of dealing with him. But some individuals don't like the way Pimp and Jay is talking to them. He has a propensity, according to them, to talk to them as if he's talking to a female. Case in point, he owed a dude from Fortray Gangster some money over some dealings. The dude from Fortray Gangster tells Pimp and Jay, time is up. I've had enough of the excuses. I want my bread. But now Pimp and Jay, right there on the yard, he's talking to the dude from Fortray Gangster, and he's moving his hands, and he got his perm going, and he's telling him, man, don't worry about it, man. I got you covered, man. It's just a matter of time, man. Hang it. Don't sweat me, man. I'm going to take care of you. Like the way he talked to a female. I guess this is how the pimping thing goes in the pimping scene. First, you be persuasive and talk to a female. and try to talk her down. And then if that don't work, you go to the old gorilla pimp and start beating on her and all this and get her to do what you want her to do, which is why I don't agree with this nonsense. But now he's employing the tactic of being persuasive. But bro, you talking to a real gang member right now. You're not talking to a female on Figueroa. What's wrong with you? And dude's telling you that he wants his money. And his response, again, is to, flare his hands, swab back and forth, shay back and forth, and his little hair flipping around. And he telling him, hey, man, I got you, player. Just chill out, man. Real players don't trip over small stuff. He popping it like this. So dude from Faux Trade Gangster, he tell him, bro, don't talk to me like that. Get out of here with that pimping shit, man. What's up with my money? Where's my bread? Don't get at me with this pimping nonsense. I don't want to hear. And you talking to me like I'm a female, like I'm one of your females out there on Figueroa, and I don't appreciate it, bro. I take umbrage to this. He let him know that. But Pimp and Jay, he just couldn't help himself. Perhaps it's just ingrained in him over the years. He don't know any other way to talk. He can't talk like just straight up like a man to man. He always is in his bag. No matter who he's dealing with. He talking to the police, he got the same posture. He's got the moving his hand. Yeah, man. Whoever he dealing with, this is just him apparently. But this is not going to fly here in High Desert. This is not going to fly on the yard with these individuals. You're not going to last long. Now, you've been warned. Do not do this. But he continued on in that conversation. And so, the dudes from up north on the yard in High Desert, I've said before, they are strong individuals, all of them, whether they from Oakland, Vallejo, Sacramento, I don't give a damn. Everyone and every car in High Desert was strong and unwilling to compromise. And the dude from Faux Trade, well, he was upset because he felt like this individual was getting at him like he was a sucker, like he was a female. And he still hadn't paid him his money, to add insult to injury. But out of respect for the up north car that the LA car did have for the up north car, because again, the up north car, they were putting in work there in High Desert. They are not no suckers. They were taking care of business. On their own, they would stab up one of their own people, and if they got into it with another car, another faction, they never backed down. Now, the dudes from LA, of course, were not scared because everyone in there is putting in work and taking care of business. But everyone has respect for one another. So the dude from Faux Trade, out of respect for the dudes from up north, he went and had a conversation with them and let them know that their homeboy, who he didn't gangbang, he was just a pimp, but he was from up north. So he's a part of their car, that he owes him money. And that when confronted for the final time about the payment, because he had been having latitude up until this point with the dude making excuses and not paying him his money. But this was the final straw. And when he had the conversation with him, he went to his pimp mode and got at him like he was a female. This is what he's telling the dudes from up north. And he's explaining how Pimp and Jay was getting at him. And the dudes from up north saying, yeah, that's how he talk too, man. Man, we gonna get at it, man. He can't be doing that kind of shit right here on the yard. That's how he talk and this and that. And that's just how he is. That's not gonna fly around here. We didn't already told him that. This is what the dudes from up north say. Because it's a dude from Faux Trade and, of course, his whole car. They all over there hollering at these dudes from up north. And so the dudes from up north, they're not covering up for Pimp and Jay. They're not necessarily throwing him under the bus, but they're making it explicitly clear that they agree with the dude from Faux Trade and that they believe him because they've had run-ins and interactions with Pimp and Jay themselves, and he can't get himself out of this pimping mode and out of this pimping vernacular. But he's going to have to at this point, because now there's tension on the yard and trouble is brewing because the dudes from LA are not in tune with what Pimp and Jay is doing, and they still haven't got their money. Now again, out of respect, they did go to the Up North car first, gave them a chance to handle it. So the Up North car, being the structured car that they are there, and the violent car that they are there in High Desert, hey, quickly and rapidly, they approached Pimp and Jay. Put them to the side right there on the yard. And they were going over this with him. And they explained to Pimp and Jay in no uncertain terms that this sort of behavior would no longer be tolerated on the yard. That in fact, he had to pay that money, pay the debt to the dude from Fortray, and pay it immediately, first of all. Secondly, he needed to go and apologize. This is what they told him. To the dude from Fortray for getting at him like he was some sort of female. But Pimp and Jay, he starts to tell the dudes from up north, they're different dudes from up north, but they're all from up north. They're all one car there. He starts to tell them, he goes into his pimp mode with them on the yard. And starts to tell them, man, player, y'all overreacting, man. Y'all overreacting. Everybody just need to calm down. Pimp and Jay always pays his money. Like, bro, you doing it right now. This is what they tell him. You doing it right now. You can't even talk to us like a man. You talking to us like you talk to the females on the street. You don't know how to communicate other than this? This is about to get you in a world of trouble. This is what we telling you. Don't do it again. But Pimp and Jay, well, he carried right on. Clearly impulsive and could not help himself or just flouted the rules and decided that he was going to be himself and no one was going to change him and tell him how he could talk. Whatever was going through his mind, the dudes from up north had made a quick decision that Pimp and Jay had to go, and he had to go immediately. Well, there was like a 24-hour hit put out on Pimp and Jay. He had 24 hours to leave the yard with stab wounds for his indiscretions, for flouting the rules and the protocols, and for refusing to approach these individuals on the yard like grown men. Well, he had made too many mistakes, and when given a chance to rectify the mistakes, he carried on with his dastardly deeds. Okay, the die had been set. Later on that night, right there in the day room, in Building 4 on BR, they popped the doors, and Pimp and Jay, without a thought in mind, ran over there to the phone. This is before the cell phones, and got on the phone, turned his back, and started talking on the phone, waving, perm flying everywhere. But little did he know, trouble was lurking and imminent. And while his back was turned, one individual was going under the stairway behind him, and another one was walking up on the side of him. And now he turned to the left for the dude that was walking up on the side of him from his car, one of his homies. A big, dark-skinned, swole, bald-headed black dude. Now, this sort of surprised me because a lot of the dudes from up north, this dude looked like he was from LA. You know, we all have our styles. And the dudes from up north have a particular style. The dudes from LA have a particular style. This dude will remind you from someone from LA before someone from up north. But he was indeed from up north, and he didn't play any games. And I'm sure when Pimp and Jay saw him coming, he knew that the jig was up. But he still didn't look behind him and see the dude creeping up behind him on his blind side. And they met at the same time and converged on Pimp and Jay, weapons drawn. And they began to stab him without mercy. Right there in the day room. He dropped the phone, did Pimp and Jay, let out some little pimping scream, ah! And tried to run. He tried to break Usain Bolt. But they was on him. They were not going to let him get away because they had already drew their weapons and swung them. They going down anyway. And, they're going to be the laughing stock if you let old Pimp and Jay get away from you and you don't leave him leaking. They were not going to take that chance. So they called Pimp and Jay, got him on the ground, and went to work on him, bro. It was a nasty scene out there in the day room. Well, blood was everywhere. All over the floor. And when the police in the tower were yelling, get down, they didn't even get down. And Pimp and Jay, all he could do was ball up into the fetal position. And he over there making moans and yelling, stop, stop. They not saying a word though. They just going to work. It was so bad for Pimp and Jay, I wasn't so sure he was going to survive the attack. He did indeed survive, never to be seen or heard from again, not by myself. I never heard from this individual or seen him again in life. I don't know what happened to Pimp and Jay after this, other than to say I know for certainty. I know with certainty that whatever yard he ended up hitting again, he never talked to another man like he was talking to one of his females that he was slapping on the street and pimping on the street and taking money from on the street. Right here on a level 4 yard. This is how you talking to grown men on a level 4 yard, even your own homies. When they confront you about the situation, you just couldn't help yourself. Man down, pimp in distress. Pimp and Jay. Yeah, he learned his lesson, I suppose. Stay free, people.